It's a beautiful spring day in 2065. But no matter how beautiful or how miserable a day it is, you still need to open up shop. You're a private investigator working out of downtown Luminous. You take on any case that comes to your desk. From missing cats to finding evidence of cheating spouses, you handle it all. And thanks to word of mouth of your skills, you have a steady stream of clients. Keeping the lights on and food on the table is not an issue. As for the voice you're hearing now, just think of me as your inner monologue. After all, every hard-boiled detective needs someone narrating their story. But putting that aside for now, you brew yourself a cup of coffee as part of your morning routine. You like to mix it up to keep things fresh. Today, you have your coffee with 1 cream and 1 sugar. As you wait for the coffee to cool off, you take a look outside your window. You see the people down below on the street going about their day. Things are, for the most part, peaceful in the city. But from what you've heard from your elderly clients, that it didn't always used to be like this. Apparently, the city was going through more turbulent times about 45 years ago, to the point where it was on the verge of destruction. It was only thanks to 3 masked heroes that the city not only survived, but thrived afterwards. It all sounds so absurd and unbelievable, but all the old folks insist it's true. One day, you hope just maybe you can meet one of these heroes, or someone who knew them personally. Just then, you heard your cell phone ring. You pulled it from your pocket and checked who it was. The call display read, Nakamura Law Office. You've worked with them before in the past. Knowing it's not a scan number, you answer. Good morning, Detective. This is Shoichi Nakamura of Nakamura Law Office. I have a job for you. But due to the nature of the job, the details cannot be discussed over the phone. Please come to our office. I trust you haven't forgotten where it is. And with that, Mr. Nakamura hung up. Judging by the tone of his voice, it sounds like a serious job. Better not keep him waiting for too long. You finish your coffee and take one last look around your office before heading out. It's best to make sure you have everything you need. There seem to be 2 points of interest for you to investigate. Better take a good look around before you head over to Nakamura Law Office. It sure would be embarrassing to show up unprepared. You want to leave the office, but you can't help but feel you're missing a few things. It's best to investigate your office just a little bit more. As much as you want to crash on the couch, you have a job to do. But before you do that, it's best to take a look around. take a look at the pinball machine beside your desk. Ever since you were a young kid, you played the silver ball. From Soho down to Brighton, you must have played them all. As much as you want to play a round of pinball right now, it's best not to dally. You better gather up your things right now and head over to the Nakamura Law Office. You check to make sure the kettle is off. Yep, it's off. You check the shelf behind your desk. All your past cases are filed there, in chronological order. Take a look outside your window. People are still going about their day. There's a lot of foot traffic outside. Perfect when you're trying to run a business. You check the ashtray in front of the desk. It's clean. Personally, you don't smoke, but it's for the sake of the clients that do smoke. You check your desk. A small stack of your business cards is sitting on your desk. You grab them without a second thought. It doesn't matter how good of a detective you are. None of that matters if people don't remember your name or don't have your business card. So you always have a handful to give out at every opportunity. You look at the air conditioner above your desk. It's best to turn that off now that you're stepping out. You check the fridge. Some bottles of spring water and some cream for the coffee. You think to yourself that you need to restock the fridge sooner rather than later. You notice the onigiri you bought yesterday. It hasn't been unwrapped yet and it's still fresh. decide to take it with you, just in case you get hungry on the job. You have everything you need. It's time to go. You arrive at Nakamura Law Office and make your way inside. It's a tiny team of lawyers led by Mr. Nakamura himself. It seems today that only Mr. Nakamura is in the office. Detective. Thank you for coming today. Please, have a seat. As you've heard over the phone, there's a serious matter for us to discuss. That is why I've invited you here to meet in person. It's not something that should be discussed over the phone. I'll get straight to the point. I've called you to enlist your help in a missing person case. I trust you're familiar with the name of Zack Hakurai. Zack Hakurai. If memory serves, he's a renowned author based right here in Luminous. He's written several novels across different genres and has gained worldwide acclaim. Some of his works have become bestsellers. Others have been less than stellar. He's been writing for decades and looks great for his advanced age. It's hard to walk around Luminous without hearing someone talk about his work. You nod your head to answer Mr. Nakamura's question. That'll speed things up. I'm formally hiring you to find Mr. Hakurai. Nobody's heard from him for over a year now. I trust you'll accept the job. Before you accept the job, there are some facts you need to clarify. There are 3 relevant questions you can ask, and there's 1 point of interest for you to investigate. You look at the rows and rows of law books behind you. You have no doubt in your mind that Mr. Nakamura has read them all. He seems like the type that actually would. You notice the bird statue in the corner of the office. You point that out to Mr. Nakamura. Oh, that thing? It was a gift from the rest of the team. I personally didn't ask for it, but they thought, since I'm rather fond of birds, that I would enjoy it. I can't say they're wrong, so I keep it around. I didn't care for it much at first, but I'm somewhat fond of it now. You take a look at Mr. Nakamura's chair. You were expecting some old-fashioned chair, but this one is rather modern and ergonomic. Perhaps Mr. Nakamura is not one for too much emphasis on appearances. You notice a framed photo sitting on Mr. Nakamura's desk. You ask to take a closer look, and he reluctantly agrees. It's a photo of a young boy, about 10 years old, with a big smile on his face. Next to him, down on one knee, is someone clad in gold and silver armor, giving a thumbs up. In the bottom left corner is a handwritten message. To Shokun, get well soon. I'm rooting for you. from Thunderbird Prime. Thunderbird Prime? Isn't that the name of one of the 3 legendary heroes of the city? So he was real after all. And not only was he real, he was humble enough to meet with the common people. Who could it be? You found all the points of interest. But you still have several questions to ask Mr. Nakamura. Your intuition is telling you there are still 3 relevant questions you can ask Mr. Nakamura. So, why do you think he's gone missing? I suppose that's a fair question. Mr. Hakurai has a tendency to just disappear for extended periods of time. From what he's told me, it's to gather references and inspiration for his new books. He'll just go dark for months and then return like nothing happened. Other times he'll travel across the country to make guest appearances at conventions or appear for book signings. But those are more publicly known. But no matter how long he's gone for, he'll always return here to update the details of his estate. And every time he does, he ends it by telling me the same thing. If over a year passes without anyone hearing a word from me, hire the best detective you know to look into the matter. I trust they'll get to the bottom of this. So that brings us to where we are now. Alright, so this old geezer likes to disappear, but never for longer than a year. And he always checks back here. So, if he's gone radio silent for over a year, perhaps something did happen to him. There are still 2 remaining relevant questions you can ask Mr. Nakamura. Think carefully. So, how have you been, Mr. Nakamura? I'm doing just fine. But now is not the time for pleasantries. We have a job to discuss. Please do not waste any more of either of our time. Sheesh. So much for trying to make light conversation. Mr. Nakamura has always been no nonsense like that. Better start asking more relevant questions. There are still 2 more relevant questions to ask. Now, what's the train of thought here? If you think a person has gone missing, what's one of the first things you would do? Mr. Nakamura, have you tried contacting his friends or relatives? Naturally. The publisher he signed on with hasn't heard from him either. I also tried to contact his place of residence, but they had also had no contact from him. Mr. Hakurai has no remaining next of kin. His only known family was his adoptive father, Shun Takanashi, who passed away decades ago. As for friends, I don't know anyone who was particularly close to him. Despite being a very public face as a famous author, Mr. Hakurai kept his private life under lock and key. The residents of the city also respect his privacy and tend not to pry into his personal affairs. That's part of the reason why I'm enlisting your help. Surely, someone within his inner circle has heard from him or knows what's happened to him. So please, I am once again asking you to accept this job. It seems there's still one more relevant question to ask. One more before you can make your decision. Think about this carefully. You've had your share of dealing with missing person cases. And you know that not all of them have a happy ending. Perhaps it's time to ask a question that you don't want to ask, but one you need to ask. Mr. Nakamura, is it too quick to assume the worst? As the lawyer of his estate, I have to be prepared for such an inevitability. But it's too soon to give up hope yet. I've been acquainted with Mr. Hakurai for a long time. He always gave off the feeling that no matter what hardship may befall him, he'll always make it through to the other side and everything would be all right in the end. No matter how many times he runs off and disappears, he'll always reappear and pick up right where he left off. I want to believe that it's the case this time too. However, we have to rule out any possibility to the contrary before we reach that conclusion. If he's missing, then find him and get him to return of his own volition. But if the worst has come to pass, then we need to find out exactly what happened and why. I'll carry out Mr. Hakurai's last will and testament should it come to that. It feels like you've asked all the relevant questions. You're going to need some time to think about this before you make your decision. Considering the potential gravity of the situation, it's not something you should be accepting all willy-nilly. You asked Mr. Nakamura for some time to think about this, and he agrees. You step out of Nakamura Law Office to gather your thoughts. A missing person case, and one of a prolific author to boot. But now that you've taken a moment to think about it, there is something odd about this case. With this case involving someone clearly important, why didn't Mr. Nakamura go to the police first? Is there a reason why he turned to you instead of them? You certainly won't turn down a case, especially when it's going to pay so well. However, you've had your share of sketchy cases with even sketchier clients. One of the most important things to a detective is their faith in their client. Mr. Nakamura is typically on the level. But if he's hiding something, then you need to get to the bottom of this. Just as you were lost in thought, you notice a small child standing in front of you. How long have they been standing there? Good thing you weren't thinking out loud. You wouldn't want to let a random kid know that a local celebrity has been missing for over a year. Anyway, the kid seems to be staring at you intently. What do they want from you? You hear their stomach growling. Are they hungry? Do you have something to give to them? You show the kid your business card. They don't seem to be interested. You once again hear their stomach rumbling. There's got to be something else you have you can give to them. Something more appropriate for the situation. You pull out the onigiri from your pocket and offer it to the kid. You're not sure if they'll accept it or not. After all, don't accept anything from strangers. Are you sure it's okay? You nod. You're not so heartless as to let a kid right in front of you go hungry. They timidly accept the onigiri, unwrap it, and begin to wolf it down. Damn, they must have been hungry. Thank you. I'm Ray. Nice to meet you. What a cute kid. Anyway, you wonder what they're doing here. There seems to be one item you can show to get them talking. now that they had something to eat, you tried showing them your business card again. They accept it without saying a word. The look on their face says they don't know what to say. Hey, as long as they accept it, it's fine. Maybe they can pass it along to their parents. And then their parents can become potential clients. You're playing the long game here. But never mind that. There's probably something more relevant you can show them. Something. Or perhaps someone. You pull out the photo of Zack Hakurai that Mr. Nakamura gave you. Ray's eyes light up when you show them a photo of Mr. Hakurai. Are you a fan of Mr. Hakurai too, Detective? Well, maybe not as big a fan as you, but yeah, I am interested in him. I'm a big fan of his work. I've read all his books, even the ones people say aren't that good. Sure, some of his work isn't good, but at least he's brave enough to try writing new genres he's never tried before. Anyway, I've been waiting around here hoping Mr. Hakurai shows up. I've noticed he stops by here from time to time, so I was hoping he'd be able to sign my book. I can never make it to one of his book signings because they're either too far away, or they happen while I'm at school. But no matter how busy he is, he never refuses to sign a book for a fan. Wow, sounds like Mr. Hakurai is a real stand-up guy. You mentioned to the kid that you're also looking for him. Really? You're also looking for him, Detective? In that case, you can have this. If you find him, could you get him to sign it for me, please? Ray shoves a book onto you. Thanks, Detective. I have to go now. Good luck. Ray runs off and disappears. You look at the book they shoved onto you. The Silver Bird by Zack Hakurai. You start flipping through it. It's a picture book about the titular silver bird desperately searching for a place where they belong. They face countless hardships and suffer a tremendous amount throughout their journey. But thanks to their perseverance, they manage to finally find a place that accepts them, and from there they begin to rebuild their life. What a touching story. You notice something is taped to the back of the book. You take off the tape and examine the strange item. It seems to be a jewel of some sort. You read the note attached to it. Use this to manifest the secrets people are hiding. Confront them with the truth to break through the chains. What a mysterious gift. Anyway, you've had enough time to think about this. Time to head back to Nakamura Law Office. You return inside Nakamura Law Office. Mr. Nakamura has been waiting for you. Ah, detective. Have you given it more thought? You tell him that yes, you have. Before that, there's still one more critical question you need to ask. Remember what you were thinking about outside the law office, before you ran into Ray. What was the burning question you were asking yourself that now you need to ask Mr. Nakamura? Something clearly important. What is the critical question you need to ask? Mr. Nakamura, why approach me and not the police? Mr. Nakamura falls silent. Suddenly. Like I said, this is a delicate matter. If I take this matter to the police, there's no way they'll handle this with the required finesse. What on earth is this? You see chains and locks manifest around Mr. Nakamura. Is something wrong, Detective? Does he not notice the chains and locks? It appears you're the only one who does. You remember the note attached to this thing. So is Mr. Nakamura hiding something from you? If so, you need to get to the bottom of this before you can take on the job. I'll ask again, Mr. Nakamura. Why bring me in for this? Why not go to the police? Isn't this, you know, their literal job? Mr. Nakamura shakes his head. As I said, this is too delicate for the police. Considering how famous Mr. Hakurai is, all they'll do is cause a panic by announcing he's gone missing. Worst case, nothing's happened to him, but he'll be under constant watch afterwards. His privacy and his freedom are among the top things he values. Okay, that makes sense. But that still doesn't fully explain why Mr. Nakamura won't go to the police. Unless there's another reason why he won't go to the police. Think, Detective, think. Why would Mr. Nakamura not want to go to the police? There's gotta be something you can show him. Something you can present him with. They'll get him to talk. But what? Perhaps you need to check the records. Flip through the pages. There's gotta be something in the evidence you gathered. I'll get him to talk. Unless it's not Mr. Nakamura who doesn't want police involvement. Perhaps it's Mr. Hakurai himself who doesn't want police involvement. Mr. Nakamura, I believe I understand why you don't want to get the police involved. It's because of this, isn't it? Mr. Nakamura falls silent. You recognize this, don't you? The Silver Bird, written by Zack Hakurai. Look, I don't claim to be an expert of Mr. Hakurai's life, but authors tend to draw on their own life experiences for their work. And reading through this, I could tell he, or someone he knew, had a real rough time growing up. So rough, they had nobody to turn to, not even the police. So, it looks like it was backwards. It wasn't you who didn't want to involve the police. It was in fact Mr. Hakurai. It's as you say, Detective. But I wasn't lying when I said I can't trust the police with this. So, there's another reason. Was there something you missed? Perhaps look through the clues once more. What other reason is there to not involve the police? Mr. Hakurai's personal angle was uncovered. But is there something more obvious? Think. Think, Detective, think. Mr. Nakamura, I noticed something about the ending to this book. The Silver Bird, by the end, becomes known as the Thunderbird. I think you know where I'm going with this. The real reason why you wanted to keep this away from the police was literally under our noses. If it weren't for that photo on that desk, the pieces wouldn't have fit together. But thanks to that, everything is crystal clear. Zack Hakurai knew who Thunderbird Prime was and based this book on him. The simplest answer would be, Zack Hakurai is Thunderbird Prime. So you figured it out. Yes, it's as you say. Zack Hakurai is Thunderbird Prime. Things are starting to make a lot more sense now. Superheroes tend to not work very well with the police, and I suppose Thunderbird Prime is no exception. I suppose they had some rocky relations in the past, and that's why he didn't want to get the police involved. But you're starting to understand why Mr. Nakamura didn't want to get the police involved. Why he chose to turn to you instead. Just to make perfectly clear, that boy in the photo, that's you, isn't it? Indeed. That photo was from 40 years ago. I was just a snot-nosed brat. I had to take a complicated operation that would save my life. But the slightest misstep could end it instead. I was scared. But one day, Thunderbird Prime showed up. He gave me the courage to face that operation. Thanks to him, I did. And I survived. Survived long enough to live to this age. So, did you know Zack was Thunderbird Prime at the time, or? Of course not. I only found out 10 years ago. I still remember it like it was yesterday. This carefree old geezer just shows up at my door. Asked me to handle his last will and testament. I thought he was just screwing around with me. But then he shut the door behind him, shuttered all the windows, and then he pulled out his transformation belt. And right before my eyes, he turned into Thunderbird Prime. To this day, I still don't know why he entrusted me with his secret. But it's something I take very seriously. I hope you do too, Detective. So, this old guy is a legendary hero from all those years ago. So wait, if he's a masked hero then... Yes, he might have gotten caught up in something extremely dangerous. That's another reason why I'm reluctant to approach the police with this. Which is why this job requires someone with more finesse, like you, Detective. Well, thank you for trusting me with this, but, oh boy, this is awkward. That heartfelt speech about Thunderbird Prime, and now I gotta talk about the money, the payment. Don't worry, it's covered. Really? Yes, as per Mr. Hakurai's instructions. He's set aside a large sum of money ahead of time for you to investigate this. Whoa, wait. You're telling me the real client is the missing person himself? That is correct. Wait, so he knew this was going to happen? It appears so. Even after all these years, I can never get a read on him. This is getting more and more mysterious. But you're already in this far, and you're being paid up front. Alright, Mr. Nakamura. I'll take on this case. Thank you very much, Detective. Alright. Job accepted. Time to head back to the office. It's been a long day. When you woke up this morning, you weren't expecting to accept such a serious case. especially not one involving someone so famous. And on top of that, you learn their secret identity was someone even more famous. Your head's still spinning trying to process all this. But one thing's for sure. Zack Hakurai has gone missing. No one's heard from him in over a year. And you've been entrusted to get to the bottom of this. But where do you even start with this? Do you start visiting the places he frequented? Do you try talking to people he knows? Or people that might know him? There's a lot to process. There's a lot to think about. But you're not going to get anywhere with your brain so fried. Every detective needs their rest. And right now it's time for you to rest. Tomorrow will come. And when tomorrow comes, you'll be ready. You'll be ready to uncover what remains of Zack Hakurai.